Dom here from Essential RC. Thanks for tuning in for another update on my TomJets Squall 120 turbine jet build. So if you haven't seen the previous episodes, just to give you a little bit of background, I met Tom of TomJets, this new company, 2-3 years ago at Pro Wing in Germany, and I'd actually been in contact with him before that because I'd heard that he'd bought out this Squall Delta jet, and I'd flown a foamy version of that, like a 70mm EDF version many years ago, maybe over 10 years ago, and I've really enjoyed flying that. And this, he designed a wood-based kit for EDF or turbine, and had pondering whether to get into building one of these. And now I've got a lot more time on my hands because I'm kind of semi-retired now, 100% focused on Essential RC now. I've got more time to dedicated to these projects that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to build a traditional wood kit, but it's quite a commitment in terms of time because it does take longer than obviously putting an ARF and almost ready to fly model together, obviously. But it has been relatively quick. Putting the skeleton, the frame of it together, it was relatively quick, and then doing the planking, as Tom calls it in Germany, the sheeting, took a little bit of time, and then sanding, and now getting to the point where I can start glassing as well, adding this fiberglass layer on top. Now the traditional way of doing that is by using an epoxy, a two-part epoxy that's quite runny, and painting that on, which is quite messy. I've tried it once, and it's quite a messy thing to do. You can be allergic to epoxies. Some people are allergic to epoxies as well. So I thought I'd try something different. Also because the supplier of this product, Easy Coat, Deluxe Materials Easy Coat, the company run by John, lovely guy, is based down my way. So I've popped round there a few times. So I thought I'd give this a go. So this is not an epoxy. You basically put a few layers of this onto the airframe, one undercoat, and then 2 or 3 coats on top of the fiberglass cloth. And so it's very easy to do, and it dries very quickly as well. So I thought where I'm at with this is I've virtually finished. You can see by the shine on the wing, I've done it on the wing already, and it's very simple to do. It really doesn't take too much time. So literally all I've got left to do of the whole airframe is one side of the vertical stabilizer. I've done everything else. I've done the fuselage top and bottom. I've done both wings top and bottom. I've done the under tray, the intake as well, plus the servo covers. I've even done the servo covers. And I have to point out, this is another design feature from Tom, is that even the holes are drilled in these, and the slot for the servo arm as well, which is fantastic. And they fit exactly, no adjustment needed. So, how to do this? So, as I said, what you do need to do with the Easy Coat is to put one layer on the surface before you put the glass cloth on top. But you do obviously need to make sure that it is a smooth surface before you start. So they say use 400 grit. I've got 1200 grit here to make sure that it is completely flat. And I've done that. I've also already put that one coat of Easy Coat on top. Now, the one thing I will say is you do have to put that first coat on very sparingly. Very sparingly. You're looking to put the minimum on here to seal the balsa. As we know, balsa does not like water. And this is a water-based product, really. So you don't want to damage the balsa by adding too much. So literally, when you've got it in your you've poured the easy coat into your pot, and then you dip your brush in, wipe it both sides, and then spread it as thinly as you can over the surface, and then give it for about 45 minutes to dry, and then you want to give it another light sand. I think so the fiberglass cloth and the easy coat has got something to key onto after you've done that. Then when you've done that, you cut your glass cloth to about roughly the right size, like so. And all these little offcuts you can keep to do the other smaller bits of the model, like the servo covers. Okay, so I've just put a little bit in here. It does spread quite thinly, and we've got to do 2 or 3 layers on top of this, so I don't have to splash it all over. I can just literally put a little bit on the brush, again wipe off lightly, and then start spreading it out from the middle, like so. Now what is very important is that you do this under some good light, because you'll then more clearly see where you've applied the easy coat and where you haven't. So keep spreading from that centre point, really. Alright, so nearly done with this first coat, which is the one where you have to be the most careful, I'd say. And this is the area all I need to do. And then we'll let that dry. That will take about 45 minutes to an hour to dry. And then I can start the next step. Alright, so that is dried now. That took 45 minutes to dry. And now I can just use a sharp blade to take off the excess. Done that, and then what we do is we give it a light sand. Really quickly, and then add the next layer. Okay, so that's the second coat on, job done, and we let that dry for 45 minutes. Okay, second layer dry, looks good. So remaining steps, cut out this excess from the servo hatch. Job done, and then just go and resand and take off any excess on the outside. job done. And now it's ready for primer. Okay, so what's next? I think even though I'm waiting for primer and paint, and I'm going to do that together with Trevor, there's other things I can start installing. So I've got the thrust pipe. Again, this is from TomJets, the turbine conversion kit. Nice bell mouth on this, and looks really good. This is going to be thrust vectored, so this is the gimbal for the thrust vectoring. So 2 servos will connect to this via push rods, so that it gives yaw and pitch thrust vectoring control. The tanks, which and these are bags, which means that there'll be a total vacuum, nothing inside these bags. And because of that, it will mean I don't need to use a bubble trap or a UAT, an air trap. I can just go with this, so overall be lighter. So you've got the larger bag, which is for fuel, and the smaller one, which is for smoke. What else? The landing gear, already showed on a previous video that that's working fine with the controller unit, again provided by TomJets. We've got the leading edge lip for the intake and the cover at the back. And lastly, but by no means least, got to go with this type of project, got to go with some really high quality servos. So if you haven't heard of Char Servo, they're quite burst onto the scene relatively recently for servos, German-based company. So I think I'm using 2 3512s for the elevons, for the rudder a 15150S, 95s for the thrust vectoring, and then the gear door, obviously, which is an 85. Oh, and obviously an extra 95 for the steering on the nose wheel, I think. And I think that's it. So I can crack on now, and I can start installing that. And when Trevor's ready to spray primer, I can mask off everything so that it doesn't get covered in overspray or with primer or paint while we do that. Okay, so that's it for this episode of my build of the TomJets Squall 120 turbine jet. It has been really rewarding so far. I've learned quite a lot as I've gone along the way, and without the advice of Trevor from Flying Fin RC, I certainly wouldn't have progressed as quickly as this. So now it's ready for paint. I'm going to be doing that soon together with Trevor again, and learning how to do that properly. But otherwise I can crack on with the installation of the electronics, the Char servos, the fuel system, the retracts, and the turbine itself. So another episode in this build series coming in the near future. If you're interested in doing a project like this from TomJets, whether it be the Squall or the Interceptor in any of the sizes they come in, then I will list all of the components, tools and materials that I've used in the video description and pinned comment if you're interested in that. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and look out for the next episode soon. Thanks, bye.